This is the Almighty Show, and today I'm gonna keep this really quick. I'm going to be discussing. I guess this is going to be about Nipsey Hustle. Now, I haven't podcasted in a while. I've actually been working on a project, but I couldn't let this go by without me touching on it. Now, like I said before, this has to do with Nipsey. Now, I think Nipsey has been at the time of this podcast. Nipsey has been gone since I think his the date of his passing. I think it was April 31st of 2018, maybe 2018 or 2019, something around that time. But but since then, there have been some interesting things that have happened surrounding him, and this is even after his passing. Not too long after Nipsey passed, if any of you all can remember, there was a young artist by the name of Kodak Black. He made some few insensitive statements about Lauren London, which is I don't think they were actually married. I think but that was his I guess you could say his fiance at the time, and he made some very insensitive remarks about her. Now, now keep this in mind. Now, Kodak would never have said this if Nipsey was alive. I mean, I honestly think that Kodak he may have just misspoke, or he may have just been out of pocket. But not too long after those remarks were made, Kodak found himself in prison. He was locked up, maybe about 2 months after that, and he had been locked up for almost a year after those statements. Now, I'm not familiar what he was locked up for, but you may have but it was almost instantaneous. The moment he said that, you saw he got a whole lot of backlash for those statements, and a lot of people just stop messing with his music. It was very insensitive. I'm not going to repeat some of the things he said, but yeah, it was a really bad look for him, and I know he wished he never had said it. But this is the thing: when initially when he was approached about it, he wasn't very apologetic. He wasn't very apologetic. He gave somewhat of he brushed over it. He was basically like, I said what I said. This is the thing, people. Nipsey, when he was living, he was a teacher. I can actually go a little deeper with Nipsey, but I'm gonna keep this at a certain level. But Nipsey was what we would call a chosen one. He was sent here by the Most High to give a message, and I can go a little further than that, like I said. But I saw some things in his charts, where he was in his natal charts, basically where he was born, and then I looked in a little bit of his history. I saw some very, very interesting things. Now, the reason why one of the main reasons why I'm bringing this up is that just recently, Nipsey Hussle's mural was defaced. It was spray painted up. It was some artwork put up on the wall. This is something that they do in California a lot. When someone passes, they may put a big mural up on a city block and on a city street. And if you looked at it, it's a very nice piece of artwork. is to commemorate the late great Nipsey Hussle. Now, a young man by the name of Capone, I think it's Baby Capone, he goes out there and thinks it's a good idea to go and disrespect Nipsey Hussle, and he spray paints all over this thing, and a very disrespectful demonstration he did. Now, this is the thing. He didn't just disrespect it and just spray painted on it. He put his name on it, and there's also videotape of him actually doing it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not going to profess to be some type of authoritarian on the gang culture out there in LA, but that's something you don't do. And not just that, dealing with the gangs, but on a spiritual level. Now, like I said before, I have a connection with Nipsey Hustle that I'm going to share with you all today. Now, like I said before, Nipsey he's a chosen one, sent here by the Most High to deliver a message. Now, this young man's message was actually cut short. He was actually gunned down in front of his establishment. Now, and if any of you are familiar with this, he spent years. He was actually traveling out of this store, and from years of dealing with the police out there, and they were actually trying to get him evicted out of the store. He went out and brought the shopping center. It wasn't just him. He had a team with him, but he was actually had an ownership stake in the actual shopping center. Now that doesn't happen a lot. It does not happen a lot with someone who's winds up owning the shopping center where he once had a store at. No, I like to commend him for that. But this is the thing. He did it. And so when you see something like this happen, it actually starts raising eyebrows. But this is the thing you need to understand. Like I said before, Nipsey was a chosen one. Now, the connection I have with Nipsey is that doing this. Now, I'm on the East Coast, but I was actually following Nipsey early on in his career. Now, what got my attention with him, there's some older footage of him where he's talking about real estate, cryptocurrency, investing. He was a young man, but you would never know that by just listening to him. And that's what got my attention with him. So he was talking about karma and certain things about how to move. He saw this cryptocurrency thing way before a lot of people did, and he was in the inner city. Now, see, when you're a chosen one, information just comes to you. And now, a lot of times, when you're trying to explain this chosen one thing, the word gets thrown around a lot. But a really good way of trying to comprehend this is that when you're a chosen one, you start channeling information. You start getting information. It just comes to you. If when you get chosen for that whatever you want to call it, the Most High, God, the universe, He takes care of you. Things just wound up, just starts moving in your direction. It's just for you to pick up. And he was experiencing that. This is the thing about Nipsey. Nipsey shared it. He was sharing the information. Now, like I said before, now when you start doing these type of things, you start getting the attention of a lot of people, and sometimes that attention isn't the best attention. So let's just say that there are some higher ups that actually saw what he was doing, and a lot of people don't understand that just before his death, this was days before Nipsey had was in the process of attempting to bring the gang factions together. He was scheduling a meeting to try to stop the violence out there in California. Now, uh, now that there's a thing out there, this gang culture out there that whatever, however you want to look at it, the violence out there, it's allowed to happen to a certain extent. It's allowed to happen. There's a lot of chaos going on there, but when you see chaos, for when there's chaos going on, it can be profitable for a lot of people. And Nipsey was actually seeing that, and him being in the gang culture, he was an intelligent man. He started saying, "Look, we can do better. We can do better." He started cleaning up the area he was in, moving differently. So when you wake up, you can't unwake up. Once you get the information, it changes you forever. It's almost like when you get chosen, you can't never go back. You can never go back to the old ways of thinking. So Nipsey was moving a little differently, started waking people up around him. And so and it's almost like waking people up from the dead. He was actually doing it, bringing people back to life. So when you seeing people moving mindlessly out there, gang banging without a cause, pointless violence, you know, innocent people being killed, there's a community out there being ravaged by this. So Nipsey took it upon himself and said, "Look, let me do something about this." And he started calling out certain artists out there for not stepping up. And so he said, "You know what? He'll do it." So he started getting some unwarranted attention. Now, there's been a lot of talk that he was actually set up. Now we all know who did it. It was a gentleman by the name of Shitty Cuz, and he was actually at one time a close friend of Nipsey Hustle. So I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but you know, he actually pulled up when Shitty Cuz came up there to talk to Nipsey. Nipsey said, "Look, I'm hearing rumors that you're a rat, that you're a snitch. I need to see some paperwork." Now, the paperwork meaning I need to see, you know, what your charges were, how were you out, and so if there's any question about you being a rat or a snitch, show me the paperwork. The paperwork will tell us everything because they're not going to allow that paperwork. So Shitty Cuz gets offended, comes back, and winds up, the story, killing Nipsey Hustle. But this is the thing. Nipsey, in the midst, after his burial and all that, you know, there's not a lot of unification out there in California, mostly because of these gangs, which is orchestrated. Now, with Nipsey doing what he was doing, you're saying bringing the gangs together. The powers that be out there, they don't want to see that. They really do not want to see that. So the setup comes in where they're thinking that he may have been set up by Shitty Cuz. And I think it's almost 2 years at the time of this podcast, and Shitty Cuz hasn't been. He's sitting in jail, but he has not been tried for this. The first his first lawyer stepped down. There's a lot of unanswered questions about his death, and if he was set up. Now let me go back. I don't want to get sidetracked. But the connection, one of the connections that I have with Nipsey Hussle is that doing this is what I'm going to share with you all today. You know, I've never met him personally, but like I said before, I followed him early on, and like I said before, he got my attention. But how he was talking, he had some great music, but it was where his mindset was at the time. Now, during that time, when he was getting the information about cryptocurrency, how to invest in stocks. Now, keep this in mind, he's not. I don't think he's ever been to college, but he was moving like a. He was definitely moving like one, and during that time, me myself, I was getting the same type of information, which how I was getting it very similar in the way that he was getting it. And so however those these chosen ones are getting this information, I was picking up on it also. I was moving the same way, and I'm going to share this with you. The same thing that he was going to invested in cryptocurrency, um, um, having a store, and actually having ownership in the shopping center that I was in for years, almost 10 years at the time. I wound up owning that shop center. I was doing the same thing, moving the exact same way as Nipsey Hussle. So I look at him differently. Even though I never met him, I almost consider him like a close friend, and I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more here. But during that time, I'm listening to him, and I'm getting information from him, listening to his music, and vibing to his music, looking at his interviews. I could not get enough of this young man. So he starts talking cryptocurrency. I'm getting into cryptocurrency heavy. I'm learning from him. And no, it wasn't just him. It was other avenues I was getting information from also. But like I said before, when you're chosen, when the information just comes to you, like I said, I'm on the other side of the country, picking up on information the same way Nipsey is doing. So after his death, it was probably the the the, uh, the night of. It was maybe no, it was the night of his death, and when I get the news that Nipsey had been killed, and I never forget it. I said, "Man, they um they got him." The only time I can remember feeling that type of grief, it was when Tupac died. Tupac was another one, and and it brought me back to that. I said, man, we got to stop this. It hit me a little differently. Um, you know, you see so much death out here, rappers getting killed, and at the time when he was killed, I think it was a whole bunch of other deaths with these young rappers getting killed. You can almost get jaded to it, which just seems like this is what it is. You get used to it. But like I said before, Nipsey hit a little differently. But that night, um, I had I don't even want to call this a dream. I was Nipsey came to me in my dream, and I'm going to share to you what happened today. I shared this only with a few other people in my family. That when that happened, Nipsey pulled he he brought me what looked like it was a planet. He brought me to a planet, and and I was inside. It was a water planet. And, so for wherever I was at, it was nothing but water. The water was very clear. It was it may have had it looked as though I can't remember on this precisely, but it looked like it had two moons in the sky. It looked like it had two moons in the sky, and I was there with someone else, someone in my family, and we were in the water. Now, before I jumped in the water, I see someone further out watching us. And at the time, I didn't know who it was. And it was something that got my attention. There was some type of sea animal, like almost like a seal, covered in diamonds. And I jokingly told the person I was with, look, I'm about to go down here and I'm about to grab this seal. And before I can go down there, the person in the dream with me grabbed it, tried to get a hold of it, and I jumped into the water, grabbed my arms around it, and the diamonds that were on the seal actually were scratching my arm. I held on to it for a period of time and was actually swimming with it. I let it go. I come back up, and the person that was sitting in the background was Nipsey Hustle. And the reason why I didn't recognize him at the time was because his hair was out. It was long. It was long and flowing. I said, "Man, that's Nipsey Hustle." And I think I woke up shortly thereafter that. And the person I was in a dream with, I said, do you remember anything from last night? And she was like, no, I don't remember anything. I mean, I said, you dream about anything? I said, and I explained to them what happened. I said, look, I had a dream that we were on a planet with Nipsey Hustle. And I think he brought me there. And when I say he brought me there, you know, this may be hard for people to understand, that and I consider myself one of these chosen ones here to deliver a message, because because when you're a chosen one, you can be you find yourself constantly being attacked. It can be in subtle ways and in other ways not so subtle, and you know it can get to the point where you know these attacks can actually take your life, as we've seen with Nipsey. But I think the same way I saw him here on this planet and how he was moving, you know, at the time I wasn't podcasting. I wasn't doing anything like that. But I think when he got to the other side, he got to see me. He got to see how I was moving. And he got to see one of his pupils. He got to see one of his students. And like I said before, I consider him a teacher. He helped me. He helped me move a certain way. And to this day, I'm forever grateful for that. But that's a true story, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that, and I'm going to save that one. I'm not going to share this one. You know, one day I expect to actually meet his brother Black Sam, and I would love to either talk to his mother or his baby mother, Lauren London, and share another piece of this dream with them. That one I'm going to keep to myself until I actually meet up with them. And I'm going to make that happen one day, and I'm putting it out to the universe that I would love to speak to one of them about the message that I received from Nipsey. And I'm not going to share that on this podcast. I'm not going to share that until I actually speak to one of them, speak to his family, and I think they would love to hear what I have to say. But look, but one thing that I want you guys to understand: Nipsey's a teacher. Nipsey Hustle was a teacher, and if you don't understand that, you don't understand that brother at all. Even in his death, he's out here teaching. Let me go back to this guy, Baby Capone, who vandalized Nipsey Hussle's mural. Now, when I first saw that, I said, man, what would Nipsey Hussle say if he saw that? Now keep in mind, people, Nipsey's here. He can see this. However this works, he can see this. And I said, what would Nipsey say? And people, like clockwork, the first thing that came to mind, it was an interview that I saw of Nipsey Hustle. It's crazy how things happen. This was going through my mind. I said, man, what would Nipsey Hustle say? As soon as I cut my phone on, there's an interview with Nipsey Hustle. It was a real short clip. It might have been IG. I think it was IG. It was like a 15-second clip. And it said, the energy you put out is the energy you gonna receive. And that was it. You may say a little bit more after that, but that was it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a time in on this planet where things are heating up and speeding up. Karma is almost instantaneous. You don't have to wait long for it. No, you don't have to wait long for this at all. You can watch it. Watch it happen. The young man, Capone, he's on the phone with a friend. Indian Red, whatever his name is. And we literally get to see people associated with this guy, Capone, get killed. This one was a little different because we get to see this man killed on IG Live. We see him talking, Capone and Indian Red both are talking, and we see the bullets flying through the window and this man asking for help. Now, this is the thing. What we don't see in that is the gunman who did this actually doubled back and put more bullets into this man. Because in the video, you don't see shots to this man's head, but in the police report, they're stating that there were 2 shots directly into his head at point blank range. You don't see that. So right after that IG Live, you see the man in the red moving around the car. You see the phone gets knocked over, but you don't. And from our perspective, it ends. But as far as that police report, the gunman actually doubled back, and to make sure that he was dead, they put 2 more bullets into his head. Now, instantaneous karma. Right after that, the guy Capone, he goes into hiding. Whereabouts unknown. I'm sure he's thinking, you know what, maybe he shouldn't have did that. Maybe he shouldn't have did that. But people, karma is instantaneous at this moment in human history. I think the term is we're moving into the age of Aquarius, or we're moving towards that. We're getting very close to that, and it's almost like a revelation or a revealing. Things are speeding up, and what Nipsey Hustle is teaching us is that, look, just like he said, the energy you put out is the energy you will receive. Now, I'm going to add something to that, to this thing we call karma. Karma, it goes both ways, so you better you better be very certain that you're putting out the correct type of karma, the karma that you want to receive. So when you're moving in a certain way, expect for it to come right back at you. You may get away with it 1 time, 2 times, but rest assured, it's going to catch up with you. The energy you put out is the energy you are going to receive. And people, if you haven't woken up to that yet, trust me, it'll make you wake up. Because see, this thing called karma, I've witnessed it firsthand. Karma, it moves. How this thing does, it can affect your bloodline. See, there's many things out here that's worse than death. It'll carry on. See, this thing called karma, or this entity that's giving this type of judgment, it's on a higher plane. It can so when you're talking about whenever you're talking spirituality, you have to look at this from a 4D perspective. So whenever you're looking at something from a 4D perspective, it's actually looking over us on the third dimensional plane. So if this is the third dimension, the fourth dimension is above that fifth dimension, and so forth. And so it can view time. It can view time, um, past, present, and future, all at the same time. So this thing called karma, it can affect you in the past, the present, or future. It doesn't matter. It can affect your bloodline. This is where the thing family curses come from. So you better be very careful on how you're moving, because you may be affecting your children, or your children that aren't even born yet. Your great 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 grandchildren. They can be picking up on something that you did. Some people are going through things now that someone did in their family maybe 50 years ago. You're picking up on that because, like I said before, it can affect bloodlines, family curses. So so people out there who are moving differently, moving recklessly, killing innocent people, trust me, you can't escape karma. You cannot escape karma. So, any of you out there, I hope this reaches the right people, and you know, and I hope you guys are learning something from Nipsey Hustle, the late great Nipsey Hustle. Move accordingly, people. Move accordingly. The energy you put out is the energy you will receive, and good day.